drives up for the start here at Brands Hatch. It is race 1 here, Season 3 Project Cars 2.
Oh, Bathurst is entertaining because it's a track that you're on 99% of edge the whole way around the track.
Just a little bit, gives them a bit more door. Northway's going to have the inside run here now. These boys are playing for keeps.
I always say it's probably the toughest track in the world.
Oh, big dive down the inside, you take them out. Oh no, Cole Manning's gone around your pole position sitter.
You know, the track is hilly, it's twisty, it's windy, it's fast.
And Seeker, a little bit wide coming out of the corner. Contact mid-corner and coming out.
Bathurst is the most iconic track for our region. Everyone knows Bathurst, loves Bathurst.
Who does it? Oh, contact! Oh, bit of drama there. I don't know whether Pluck will be very happy about that. When we approach the halfway point and Damien Main's gone, he's looped it. Great move there by Northway, but he goes deep and so does Matt, and then they make contact. Matthew Pluck, Project Cars 2 ANZ champion for Season 3 here. Fantastic job.
That time, it's the Let's Play Live Star Insurance Project Cars 2 ANZ Championship. We're live from Auckland SkyCity, Sky Tower. 16 races have boiled down to 8, and 8 races are standing by live in studio, and a Fox. Yes, that's right, that's a Fox you guys see in the studio. It's grand finale time of Bathurst. My name is Brendan White, and I am joined for the grand finale with none other than the brains from driven.co.nz, Matt Hansen. Welcome back.
G'day, mate. Like a boomerang, but it's Bathurst. It's got to be here.
Got to be here. You're the brains behind Bathurst. He's got a lot of knowledge, so we had to pull him in. And another man with knowledge around Bathurst is none other than Simon Chapman, Velocity News. Welcome back as well.
Cheers, Brendan.
It's the last race. How are you feeling?
Yeah, pretty amped. After last week, it was almost an anticlimactic finish in some ways. So I think, tonight, Bathurst, a circuit that we all know and love, one that's obviously famed for its danger. It's going to be pretty epic tonight, I think.
Right, well, if you're just tuning in on Sky TV or Twitch, 16 races have competed from Australia and New Zealand, and we've boiled it down to 8. Last week we gave away some cash, but there's more cash up for grabs tonight. So one person, and the favourites are Robert Northway and Matthew Bullpluck from Christchurch, but we do have an Australian in studio as well. It's a good feeling to have them back in studio, to have them inside Sky Tower. What are you feeling? Who's your money on? I know who you're going to say.
Well, actually, I'm going to go a little bit left field tonight. Talking to some of the drivers earlier tonight, Monkey Matt did a 201 flat in practice, which is about 5 or 6 tenths quicker. That's the man we're talking about right there. Faster than anyone else in practice tonight, so everyone's sort of a bit on edge. They're thinking Monkey Matt's probably the guy to beat. He actually sort of starred in last season's race here at Bathurst, so I'll keep an eye on Monkey Matt. He's my pick for tonight.
Right, and Matt, who's your pick for tonight?
I'm not sure I can put a pick in, but I mean, all I can say is that Bathurst, it's one of those circuits where we see people elevate themselves, bring out the best in themselves, and we see a lot of weird stuff happen as well. It's a track that it's unforgiving. If you make a mistake, there's a concrete wall right there with your name on it, so who knows what's going to happen.
Well, we look across the field here, and there's young, there's old, and there's a flying fox. My money is going to go on Seeker. Purely, we haven't named him yet, but he is the fox from Christchurch. You see there, he actually races like this. It's kind of like, what do you call it, the Australian, American mascots, right?
Yeah, I guess. Except he's the one playing, he's not out on the field.
All right, and obviously Madden as well. Team Highlands Racing, the Australian, flying in as well. Well, it's been an epic season. There's been all sorts of moments, ladies and gentlemen. So why don't we take a look at what has made this championship? Season 3 of Project Cars, and the first one was Hockenheim in Germany, Simon.
Yeah, we saw all sorts of drama here. We were excited to see the Porsche 911 GT3R go out on track. We saw Northway and THR Madzy, Kyle Madden get into drama early on. This was a bizarre incident. All of a sudden, Mr. Northway spinning out on his own on the straight there, everyone managing to miss it. There was a bit of drama in race 2 though. Cars trying to master the wet conditions. We saw Seeker though coming out on top for his first win. First season for him as well. Amongst some of those regulars, it was a great win for Seeker, the Auckland Grand Prix circuit. Then we headed to Japan for Sportsland Sugo and Fuji Speedway. We saw a run of dominance for THR Madzy AU. Finished race 1 in P1, finished third in race 2. But then there was drama at Fuji Speedway. It all kicked off when Prens decided to send it down the inside at turn 1 at Fuji Speedway and take our man out of the competition. And I believe had he won that race, could have finished 4th overall, potentially a little bit higher.
Right, and after that we went to Dubai. Matt, it was a bigger car this time, but it provided some fantastic racing.
This for me was highlight of the season in terms of the racing that we saw on track. Lower aero cars, lots of contact. We saw a couple of these incidents happen during the race. Madsy and a few of the others, friends, getting real hands-on with it, and just like an instant replay. But in the wet, Simon.
Yeah, in the desert of all places. These GT4 cars, obviously not a lot of downforce, not a lot of grip, all sorts of drama. Northway and Pluck, though, having this mega battle at the Dubai Autodrome GP circuit. Was supposed to host Formula 1 once upon a time, but that never quite happened. We saw some fantastic battling all night. Great to see Pluck prevailing in that one after Northway made a bit of a mistake. Northway a little bit mistake prone, unfortunately. Pluck taking the win there with a last lap, last corner pass.
And then the Pluck and Northway battle continued. We went Muruka Sonoma, and it was, man, this really threw us off. It was the undercut.
Yeah, it was crazy. We talked about it all season, the effect of pitting. We didn't really expect to be seeing much pitting in the whole season. Mandatory pit stops taken off this season. But the effect of the tyre damage and the tyre wear obviously playing its part. Northway coming in early, getting some fresh boots for his IndyCar. Getting that undercut with some quick times, managed to get the advantage over Pluck there and take the win at Sonoma.
Well, there we have it, ladies and gentlemen, and after 7 weeks, this is how it turned out. The tournament later for Project Cars, Matthew Pluck, the Christchurch, 2,284 points, taking out 2,500 AUD. And then Robert Murphy's Law, only 114 points behind him, which was a good effort. Those are the two you're going to watch for Bathurst. And then the Flying Fox, also Christchurch, 370 behind him, Simon.
Yeah, we might have to get that corrected. I believe he's actually a Husky, so we'll have to call him the Hustling Husky maybe tonight. Seeker down there in P3. 370 points in arrears, though, never really featured too much in terms of the title battle up the front there until the last round. THR Madzi, Kyle Madden down there in P4, 520 points adrift. And we saw Prenz, Monkey Matt, Simon Bishop and John Baggs completing the top 8. Interesting thing to note though tonight, Simon Bishop not competing, Dave Stone coming in to replace him. Simon Bishop is actually racing overseas, Matt.
Yeah, he just got back from Austria. G'day, Simon. I know you're watching. Just came back from the latest Gran Turismo showdown, and I'm sure we'll cover that later in the show.
Awesome. So Let's Play Live, Project Cars 2, providing the stepping stones to bigger and better opportunities overseas, eh?
Oh, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is the top 8 on the left-hand side of your screen, minus Simon Bishop, who is playing live inside SkyCity Sky Tower right now. That is it. So let's check out, let's have a little quick, earlier on I caught up with Matthew Bullpluck, just a couple of words to see what he had to say. Let's have a look. All right, well, Matthew Bullpluck, you have been the Scotty McLaughlin of Project Cars. You've run an absolute clinic. They're going to give you the name, the doctor of the house. How's it feel to win those first 7 rounds?
Yeah, it's really rewarding. It was a long, hard challenge, and we had some very close battles throughout the series, so it was a very rewarding experience.
Right, so just quickly, how many hours do you practice a week?
Oh, anywhere between 5 to 10 hours.
5 to 10 hours. Okay, now, you're the man with the mark on his back tonight, aren't you?
Apparently.
How does that feel, and how much, I guess, does this emphasis, this all-out Bathurst dogfight, do you put on that versus the championship?
Oh, the championships obviously ran over a long period of time, whereas tonight's just 2 hard races. Everyone starts on 0, and it's a slugfest to the end. So it's winner takes all. Anyone could take it.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Matthew Bullpluck, he was actually quite a hard man to get a few words out of. He is very focused on tonight's Bathurst race. And you heard it there, like 2 concrete walls on each side, and this is him. He's focused on this. He's put the season in past. But before we get on to the next thing, this season, you know, we had movers and shakers. The standout round, what was the favourite round for you, Simon?
I'm not even sure that you can really pick one in particular round that really stood out. I'd say if there was one that was quite memorable, it was probably Dubai, just because of the nature of the GT4 car that we drove there. You know, it provided a lot of action, not much grip, not much downforce. The guys really having to muscle that Aston Martin around. So yeah, I really loved seeing that race there at Dubai, a circuit that we weren't really expecting a lot of drama to happen at.
Well, for me, it was the fact that we changed up a few things. We had 16 and we had sprint races in there, we had weather in there, we had different cars. Matt, What about you?
I think probably same as Simon to a degree. Dubai, I enjoyed Ruapuna. I think what you mentioned about having different cars at different rounds, it's asked a lot of the drivers to adapt to each car, to find the advantages, disadvantages of each car, where they're good, where they're weak. And I think that's what we've seen all the good racing come from, really.
Well, let's have a look where we went and take a bit of a highlight on that, because we did go to Christchurch. It was great to have New Zealand on the list. So this is the location list where we've been, and we saw a very similar reoccurring pattern. Germany, we went there, Matthew Paul Pluck. The following week, we went to the United Kingdom, Simon, and we saw Northway, followed by one of your favourite tracks in Japan, and it was who again?
Yeah, Mr. Northway, Mr. Pluck. It was crazy to see, you know, just the split in terms of, you know, I think it was a 3-4 split between Matthew Bull Pluck and Robert Northway. Pluck coming out on top overall. If we're going by averages, you'd have to say that Robert Northway will come out tonight on top. 8 rounds to play with, obviously. Tonight, though, coming away with $500 is the goal for those guys. Last week, round 7 was our final for the regular round robin, so we've already crowned a champion, and we'll get to see him a little bit later. But this is the circuit that we're going to tonight. Bathurst, Mount Panorama, 3 hours west of Sydney. Awesome track, famed for its undulation, for its danger, and for the spectacle that is the mountain. Awesome place, can't wait.
Well, it's quite ironic that we have Kyle Madden flying in from Australia to compete back at Bathurst, so he's kind of got the hometown bragging rights. 15 laps on each. It's no feature race, and here is what they will be driving around Mount Panorama tonight.
Here it is, the Ford Falcon FG V8 supercar, the only car we could really ever drive around the circuit like this. Topping out at 300 kilometres an hour, it accelerates from 0 to 100 in just 3.4 seconds, making a mammoth 635 horsepower. Weighs a little over a ton, a little under a ton and a half, I should say, and has about 3 wins, I think, in history at Mount Panorama in the Super Cheap Auto Bathurst 1000.
Now, if you guys are the technical experts here of this car, it's a supercar, obviously pre-supercar. What is this like, something, I guess, versus some of the other cars, the Ferraris, the Porsches, and the open wheelers we've seen in the series? Is this going to provide us like we did that, was it the Aston Martin, the big racing, lots of good racing?
Sort of. It's sort of unlike anything these guys have driven on. You know, the Aston Martin was basically a road car made into a race car, whereas this is a bona fide race car. You know, it's not got a heck of a lot of grip. It might have a big wing on the front and rear, but it's got so much power going to the rear wheels that it doesn't really get a lot of grip. Matt, you know, you've been in basically a supercar before, V8 Super Tours. You know, what's it like being on the cockpit?
When you think about the international races that come over to Australia, who flock in and race these cars, the circuit is a really big thing for them. But also, the car is never like something that they've driven before. If you think about that Aston and you add the power from a GT3 car, it is a completely unique form of vehicle to this part of the world.
You know, it's so cool having the guys in the studio, the concentration on their faces and the other guys watching, and the reactions. We're going to see it all through the night tonight, and we actually hear some of the reactions in the past, some of the vocabulary that comes from it. But before we do that, you can be just like them, racing around a track, in particular Hampton Downs. Matt, tell us about this cool little promo.
Oh, this is awesome. We've been running this for most of the season so far. Watch the telecast as we go. There'll be a code that will come up in the corner of your screen. Visit driven.co.nz, hit the win tab, and you could go into the draw to go to Hampton Downs and have a sample behind the wheel of a Lamborghini.
Well, you also get a night here at SkyCity as well. So you get the room, you get to bring the partner or the mate along, and then you get to go racing around Hampton Downs. Big thanks to the team down at Hampton Downs for that. You guys have done that, haven't you? You've raced around Hampton Downs in many a car.
Yeah, I know you have. I've only done it a couple of times, but yeah, cool circuit, isn't it?
Oh, it's awesome. It's the perfect place to go and have a fang and not feel totally in danger. You can actually get to the limits of a car without the outright fear of some other circuits.
Like Bathurst, maybe.
No, yeah, exactly.
Talking about tracks, keep it on the track, ladies and gentlemen. Let's check out the track we're going to tonight. It's Bathurst. It's coming up soon on the Supercars calendar. But Simon, for those that don't know, fill them in.
How many corners have we got to play with tonight? It's about 23 or so. It's a fantastic circuit. Started off life as a street facility. A little scenic drive through the little town that is Bathurst. Mount Panorama, a fantastic circuit there. It may look fairly simple on paper, but it is anything but. You can see there the start-finish line on the front straight to your far right. You go into that 90-degree left-hander held corner where you expect to see all sorts of drama into turn 1 at the start of this race. You head up the hill, mountain straight, and into a big sweeping right-hander. Through the cutting, up to the left-hander there, another tricky section of the corner, and basically that entire yellow sector that you can see there, you probably won't see a heck of a lot of passing, but it certainly is a challenge just to make your way through there. We've got 15 laps for each race around this circuit. You head down the blue part of the circuit there too, another great opportunity down Conrod Straight to make a pass, but also a great opportunity to have a rather big shunt. So I think in terms of ways to finish the season, this is probably the most fitting way to finish it off. You know, a tricky car, a tricky track, and potentially some tricky conditions, but it is relatively warm out there, 23 degrees on track, just a little bit of a breeze, 3 kilometres an hour, and medium cloud, so should be ideal for lapping conditions around here.
Well, it is very fitting. It's all where it started 3 seasons ago, and now we join it back for the grand finale of Season 3. We're on board with Matthew Bullpuck. Only 55 seconds to go left in qualifying. You see him on the left-hand side of your screen. Concentration is key here. You look at the times up the top left-hand side of your screen. Who has banked the scores? Well, Pluck sitting in 3rd position right now, and it's all important Pluck. If he gets that top, sort of that first position, pole position, he's never caught. So let's see, who else have we got on the top leaderboard there, Simon?
Yeah, so it looks like Monkey Matt there. We spoke about him a little bit earlier today. He did a 2:01 flat, so he's about a second off the times that he set in practice, but qualifying is over. So here is your order as it stands. Wow, the margins are so slim despite how large this circuit is. Kyle Madden comes out on top at 2:01.923 ahead of Monkey Matt. My man for tonight, just 600ths of a second down in P2 there. Matthew Bull Clark, our championship winner, down in P3 there. Robert Murphy's all Northway. I don't imagine he'll be too disappointed being down there in P4, but he might be a little bit disappointed at the difference between 4th to 1st, 9/10 of a second there. Then there's a bit of a big gap between John Baggs to Robert Northway, 2.5 seconds down there in P5. Prenz, Seeker, and Dave Stone rounds out the order. If you're wondering why the order is a little bit smaller tonight than last week, it's because we took the top 8 contenders from the championship, bring them in studio here for the final. Winner takes all, $500 on the line between the 2 races. We'll explain some of the semantics later on, but we are about to get into race 1 here tonight.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is live from SkyCity Sky Tower, the live Let's Play Live Star Insurance Project Cars 2 ANZ Championship. 8 races from Australia and New Zealand. It's a dogfight, $500 on the line, but overall it's been $6,500 on the line. Who will take it out for the first race? 15 laps around the hill. Simon, you love this bit, take it away.
Here we go, the race start here already. It looks like Robert Northway trying to make some moves down at turn 1, but it is Kyle Madden who gets the advantage. Maybe a little bit loose there into the corner, but he's already got a bit of a margin there over Matthew Bull Pluck, who's got the jump. Robert Northway slots into P3 there, and it is Monkey Matt who's fallen back straight away. John Baggs trying to make some headway early on in this race, but he's already dropped back a few tenths, a few car lengths. You can see now Monkey Matt just looking on behind, but it is Northway trying to send it down the inside of Pluck. Pluck goes a little bit wide. Is he getting into the tires? He sure does. A big shunt, but Northway, he too goes into the wall. Is that going to open the door for Monkey Matt? Sure does. Monkey Matt back up into P2. But while all that's happening, Madden already the best part of a second ahead of Monkey Matt now. Northway drops back into P3. John Baggs is up to P4 now. Matthew Bull Pluck, our championship leader, was infallible all season, has already dropped back down to P5 now. Prenz, Dave Stone and Seeker round out the order as it stands here. We're about halfway through the first lap. You can see Robert Northway really seesawing on the steering wheel there. Lots of concentration as they go over the top of the hill, down into Brock Skyline now. Just keep the car as straight as possible. Already you can see their Monkey Matt a little bit loose, but then Northway overcooks it, manages to recover it though through the Brembo dipper and does a good job there to maintain position. But some drama early on, boys.
This is the big thing. I mean, Pluck and Northway, we haven't really seen, well, actually, we've seen quite a lot of it from Northway, not so much from Pluck in terms of coming through traffic, racing through the mid-pack and trying to make up those positions. We haven't really seen so much of it. He's normally clinical at the front, so this is the big test for him today. Yeah,
well, one thing that we haven't really spoken about much is in terms of the equipment. You know, these guys have different setups at home. You know, some might be using a Logitech, some might be using a Thrustmaster. If you're lucky enough, you might have something a little bit better than that. For these guys, as we see Clark send down the inside of John Baggs just let him go by. And these guys are in different seats. They're sitting next to each other, you know. When they're at home, generally during the regular season around Robin, they're on their own. They can really focus in, they can hone in on what's happening. Tonight they've got cameras in their face, you know, they've got guys racing alongside each other. It makes things just that little bit harder, but Matthew Bull-Pluck is obviously on a charge early on. He's got the headlines ablaze. He'll be hoping to catch Robert Northway soon enough.
What Pluck will be looking for, and probably crossing his fingers for if he can, is looking at this group of 3 cars at the front. This is prime for a bit of a battle here, because I reckon that they're compressing a wee bit, whereas Pluck, I mean, it'll be interesting to see the margins at the end of this lap. He's got a clean piece of road in front of him, a lot of space to go and open up his Ford Falcon and actually try to, make some time up on these boys. If this battle keeps on going, they're going to allow him straight back into this battle for the first place. Yeah, well, he might have to worry a little bit too if there's a bit of drama up ahead, because it is certainly a narrow circuit. We saw in, 2005, 2006, the track is jammed, 03, mate, and he just clouded the wall, Matt, and very lucky to escape with that one. It's rare that you can hit a wall here at Bathurst and actually just keep on driving, but he's managed it at the moment. That's his one piece of luck, I'd say, for this 15 laps.
So that margin just compressing a little bit at the front there. Pluck down in P4. Hasn't really brought the margin down. It's still sitting stable at about 3.5 seconds, so he'll have to hope that the top 3 ahead of him make a mistake potentially. But I guess if you're Matthew Pluck, you've got the big scalp, you've got the big smackaroonies from last
You've made the
week.
$2,500,
Anything's a bonus from here, isn't it?
But he's a man who means business, and I think Matthew hit it on the head. That if he was out in front, he would be sweet as. But this is uncharted territory for Pluck. He has to climb back through the field as we go down the straight here. 293 kilometres an hour. Is that what they hit in supercars?
Yeah, it's pretty close. I mean, these cars coming through that corner. So these days, it's pretty much flat all the way through the chase. Back in the day, you gave it a dab of brake, as we see, I think, Monkey there running a little bit wide on the ripple strip and swinging the tail out. I reckon Northway's hunting at the moment. He can see that Matt Smith is locking the inside front wheel a few times around the lap. A lot of left-handers at this track, so you don't want to be doing that too much. As you see, even more there through turn 1, he misses the apex a wee bit. A lot of pressure at the moment, and this really should be the opportunity now for Madsy to skip away, and we're being led by an Australian, boys.
Well, mate, hometown bragging rights, he's going to be stoked. But it also means that the nerves are on him, because these guys, and it's like Monkey Matt. Monkey Matt, he came 6th in the championship. He's currently in 2nd. So there's a bit of pressure on here, because you've got Robert Northway, sometimes makes mistakes as well, but he's right there. So great start for these. Oh, bit of a lock up there from Madden.
I think there was a mistake from all 3 of them there in a moment. I think we saw Madden have a lock up, Monkey Matt go sideways, and Northway go wide of the apex there. So all 3 of these guys obviously pushing early on, as we see Seeker now, the hustling Husky in his giant race. I was talking to him earlier on tonight, and he was saying it does take quite a while for them to get the pedal set up right. The feet that he's got are certainly quite wide.
Is that because these are designed for human feet, not husky paws?
Well, these guys are all... This is shocking. These guys are all racing with no shoes on, right? So they feel the pedals and the feedback. So a lot of these guys, when they're gaming, they take their shoes off and they're racing socks. This guy's got massive paws that he's got to deal with. But you can see it's not doing him any favours. 207, Seeker, right down the bottom. And he has actually had an amazing season. It's getting in my ear that he's been barking in the studio as well. Okay, this is just all sorts of weird here. But anyway, Madden, the Australian, out in lead, 203.2. And it is an ever so close gap. You look at Northway, 203.1. And Pluck, 203.8. So these guys are really close. It's not over yet.
It's pretty even between these top 3, I reckon. I'm not really sure who has the advantage. Northway made a mistake early in the lap, and he hasn't really recovered just yet. Monkey's looking really good. He's firmly in the draft of Madsy in first place. But again, I mean, he's someone we haven't really seen him in this position this year so far. He's had a couple of podiums. I think there was a round earlier in the year where he made advantage during a pit stop cycle. But to actually be on merit, challenging from the front, it's something we haven't quite seen from him yet this year. So where's he going to make the move? What's he going to do?
Monkey Matt, and you're just tuning on Sky TV as well, and you're wondering, why are they saying Monkey Matt or these different names? Well, those are their gaming names. It's actually Matt Smith from Christchurch. So in motorsport, you have like the Giz, or you have Bangadan, or the DK. So these guys actually have their gaming names as well. That's why we're referring to them in these weird names. Further down the field now, we have a look at the bottom of the pack. Preen's in 6th position. He's had a stellar of a season. You see him on the left-hand side of your screen here. Todd Murray from Wellington. So, newcomer this season, was he, Simon?
Yeah, we've not seen Preen's before. Good job for all these guys, I guess you could say, to get into the top 8 here. All of them are going to go home tonight with a little bit more cash in the pocket. So if you want to know a little bit more about the drivers, the players, get onto YouTube, subscribe to the Let's Play Live YouTube channel, and you can learn a little bit more about these players, sort of their history in sim racing, where they're from, what they do. You see Dave Stone here, John Baggs. Actually, sorry, no, that's Alistair Kuipers, who managed to get a bit of a free kick courtesy of Simon Bishop not being here tonight. So I guess he's just happy to be here to compete. And we see now Seeker, obviously the hustling Husky, is perhaps waiting late in the piece to make his move because he's currently down in last.
Nonetheless, I mean, he's been really impressive this season as a rookie. Preen's as well, exactly the same comment. Preen's is currently really under attack from Kuipers. Back to the front, but great to see a lot of the rookies making it into this final. But at the moment at the front, it's really all about the experienced guys, the old hands. As we see a massive mistake under brakes through turn 1, that's Madsy, locked the rears, and that's something you see a lot in these supercars. The low rear grip on corner entry can sometimes catch you out. Monkey Matt, he may have seen that, and that might be the incentive to try to make a move coming up Mountain Straight and preparing for Griffin's Bend.
And there's certainly no pressure on Monkey Matt either, because Robert Northway down in P3 has dropped back, so we see Madden go really wide of the apex there. Manages to get through cleanly though. You can see the amount of wheel work going on for Monkey Matt as he clips the inside wall and the outside. Madden gets a little bit loose there as well. Unweighted side of the car, so not too uncommon there, but Monkey Matt, man, these guys will be happy that they haven't got full damage on at the moment, because otherwise there'd be no one left in this race.
Bathurst is one of those sort of clown mirror circuits where it's very deceiving on TV how wide it is. Is really narrow, this place. I mean, if you think about it, it's a public road most of the time, so generally most of the circuit is just made as you would expect a 2-lane street. It's not particularly wide. The margins between yourself and all these big concrete walls, huge impact.
Kyle Madden.
So he's done that twice now. He's hit the wall, and we're seeing a lot of little micro mistakes from these guys. Normally what happens is if you're in that second place car, you pick them all up and you watch them from that car in front and try to think, well, where is he going to do it the next lap? Where can I dive there? But if they're all doing it, it might just be one of those races of attrition.
And just remember, it's only lap 5 here of 15. We've still got plenty of time left in this race for Monkey Matt to make a move. Kyle Madden, THR Madsy AU, representing the Aussies, leading on the home track, but on Kiwi soil at the moment, showing the Kiwis how it's done in this Ford Falcon FG. I wonder if these guys will need to pit. I doubt that the tyre wear is probably going to be too great, but we can already see Kyle Madden get really loose at the moment. But I'm not sure whether it's going to make a huge difference.
Yeah, there's a lot of sliding in these cars. If you know that you've got that single lap pace, if you're a Pluck or a Northway, the two guys on screen right now, and you know that you're probably not going to catch those two cars at the front on outright on merit, maybe you give it a crack. But it's also quite a short pit lane at Bathurst. It's not a huge amount of time to sacrifice. So I'm not really sure really what these guys are going to do.
But if you're Madden and you come into the pit lane, you're definitely going to fall to last, aren't you?
Absolutely. Yep. So it's that risk versus reward stuff. It's whether you can make that sacrifice. If you haven't got track position, it's probably not a bad idea, I reckon.
So if you're tuning in at home, if you're on Sky Sport, you see Matthew Pluck get a little bit loose. If you're tuning in at home on the tally, you want to know a little bit more about it, get on twitch.tv, jump on the chat, send us some questions. If you're on the Twitch chat at the moment, send some through. We'll try and answer them as best as we can. Somebody asked what these guys were having for lunch today. Don't quite know what that one was, but for dinner they were certainly having Andy's Burgers. Great family out there outside SkyCity.
Have you met Andy?
Yeah, great guy.
He's a lovely guy.
Yeah.
He can cook.
Makes some great movies.
This margin is getting so tight. And the thing, I mean, so this is the second sector of the track, bridging into the third.
Wow. Big lock up there from Monkey Matt. Nearly sends it into the rear of Madden. You can see there Northway down and P3 is just looking on. He's a little bit slower though at the moment there. He's on about par with Monkey Matt for that last lap, but he's lost about 2 seconds to the leaders.
Look at his concentration. I'm not sure who he's sitting next to on the right-hand side of him, but he keeps looking over at their screen, see where they are. So they come down the straight now. Didn't see how fast they're going, but the concentration. Monkey Matt, so Matt Smith from Christchurch, another Christchurch local, trying to take the Australian out on the hometown track. Kyle Madden from Brisbane flew over to New Zealand to compete at Bathurst. We're close too, aren't we? We're a month away from Bathurst now.
Oh, another big lock up in the last corner. The tail comes in.
Oh,
Oh,
ducks it. No,
he's caught it.
Oh,
He's
big
caught
recovery,
it.
yeah. Big shake of the head there for Monkey Matt. He knew that he made a mistake there and he's lost the best part of a second. Was maybe just looking at what Madden was doing. Almost like ball watching in cricket, you know, he just wasn't keeping his eye on the
He
action.
keeps doing it. Watch his eyes. He keeps darting to the right hand side of the screen. You can see. It's almost like he's stressing himself out. And it's a lot of work because you're in studio, you're on cameras. You know that people are now watching you live. You're not in the comfort of your home.
The other thing is that it's not just that they're on different systems or that they're in this public arena. It's also pretty hot in there, and that's going to get worse and worse as the race goes on. These guys are. It's a genuine physical thing that they're putting themselves through as the race wears on, especially if you're wearing a
He's
dog
picked up
suit.
a spot. He's picked up a spot as the Flying Huskies now in 7th
Yes,
position.
good on them.
And saying that in Bathurst, we were actually having a chat about that out at Supercars last week, how the races, their boots, the floors all get so hot that they actually melt their race boots.
Yes, we've had a few real bad cases at Clipsal at the Adelaide event where heat is at its absolute peak in supercars land. But yeah, Bathurst, it's one of those tracks where all that stuff. Oh, Northway's pushing.
These guys are pushing over the hill, man.
I don't know how much these cars can take it because these boys are just slapping the wall like NASCAR, but seems to be okay at the moment now. The margin's sort of stabilising a little bit, and we can see this top four, while the margins are maybe blowing out a little bit, it's starting to narrow in some ways. You know, you can see that Pluck is just at the rear of the shot, and we can see Madden isn't too far up ahead the road too. I can't imagine we'll be too far away from a 3-car battle here.
Put yourself in the position, Simon. You're engineering Matt Smith. He makes that mistake coming out of the last corner. What do you tell him? How do you counsel him?
Mate, just send it, you know. But also,
This is why you're not a race engineer,
but also
probably.
be careful when you send it. You know, you've got plenty of time left in the race.
Was it EVP that sent it up the inside?
He sent, well, I think it was Prenz who sent it down the inside of Madden and ruined his race at Fuji Speedway. But if you're Monkey Matt, no, in all seriousness, I'll be telling him to, just take your time, bide your time. You've got plenty of time left in this race. It's only lap 8 of 15. We're basically halfway through this one. The margin's only about a second, and Monkey Matt has shown that he can get close, and it seems to be when he gets close, Madden's looking in his mirrors and making mistakes. So I think Monkey Matt just needs to bide his time, almost a bit like Reynolds, all those years ago when he was fighting for that win at Bathurst, but he didn't make the move. I think this is the difference. Monkey Matt's got to at least try and make the move.
It's one of those.
trying.
I think the amount of paint from his car that's currently planted on the walls of Bathurst probably indicates he's trying. Has Northway dropped off a little bit? I mean, this is the top two.
He has.
There he is. He's way down.
Yeah, he's got
and
a
that
bit of
car's
damage.
damaged.
Oh, look at that.
Front
he's-
damage on the Falcon.
He sent it maybe too hard into turn 1, I think, at Hal Corner. So damage on the front of that car. You can see he looks a little bit despondent there in the cockpit, not happy with himself.
It's got little teddies to the left-hand side of him as well, like a little hamsters watching him
I
race.
thought you just left those in the studio. But so he was all by himself on track. I wonder whether Pluck had caught up to him and something happened, or whether he did it himself.
We got Bags and Pluck. Was he third or was he fourth?
Northway was in third place.
Right. So he lost 2 positions. So
That's
we've
a bit of
got
money.
Pluck. See where Pluck's sitting right now, down the.
And so what that means is, I mean, tonight it's an overall, isn't it, Simon? In terms of who comes out on top tonight, that's a big thing for him to not be on the podium anymore.
Yeah, Northway's been, I want to say Mr. Consistent, but he's also made a few mistakes throughout the season. And
Consistently making mistakes.
yeah, unfortunately, that sort of cost him a chance at winning the title overall, the round robin series. This is the winner takes all $500 in the bank race tonight. But, at the moment, he's not doing himself any favours if he wants to get a bit of dosh in the pocket.
Well, what we also look at is what happens if Madden wins this race and we have it flipped and Monkey Matt wins the next race and Madden second. You almost have a tie.
Yeah, and my understanding is that if Monkey Matt wins the next race, hypothetically, and Madden were to come second, based on the results now, Monkey Matt would win overall for the night because it's basically a tiebreaker and the second race wins the tiebreaker.
Right. Is that normal in motorsport? It's sort of.
Yeah, pretty standard. Back in the day, used to be the way with Clipsal. I think it still might even be that way now. Adelaide 500, they've got rid of Clipsal.
They didn't make very good tools anyway.
No, they didn't. But they changed the format for that. Cool little event. But yeah, if you win the Sunday race, I think for a time there used to be 3 races in a twilight race. But yeah, it's back to a 2-race system now, 250 Ks, Saturday and Sunday, and the winner of the Sunday race basically gets the win.
How many laps is how many Ks is Bathurst 1000?
Several.
That's generally why it's called the Bathurst 1000.
There you go.
Yeah, it's just
Do you mean the track itself?
fun fact.
Well, I was multitasking. I was watching also that Kyle Madden's wearing gloves. So it's only driver to wear gloves. It's an interesting element to see in the studio and sort of real life versus.
Might just be comfort thing for a lot of guys at home with some of the higher end gear. The steering wheels actually have Alcantara. Am I saying that right, Matt?
Force feedback.
Yeah, you are saying that correct.
Yeah, sorry, my Italian not so good. But you basically,
It's a British company.
if your hands
actually don't
get
know.
sweaty, the Alcantara gets damaged and all matted and bad.
Oh, right,
so
okay.
a bit like suede. So
Right.
you wear gloves and that basically protects it. So maybe he's got a nice steering wheel at home and he's just used to wearing gloves.
Someone else is used to wearing gloves. 7th position at the moment.
Those body length gloves.
I was going to say, what is his hand position at? Is that like a 10 and 2 or?
I seriously doubt that he wore this.
You're looking at this and you're
This
wondering
husky
what his
suit
hand
the whole
positions are, Simon. That's the thing that's sticking out to you right now.
We were talking a little bit earlier today, and I was like,
What,
we
the Fox? The Husky?
Yeah, the Husky. We were talking about the widescreen monitor out in the foyer here, and he said, "Well, it'll be no good to me
No.
because I can't see anything."
Change for the lead.
Change for the lead. Monkey Matt picks up the lead. Kyle Madden makes a mistake, potentially on turn 1. Sorry to cut you off there, Simon, talking about.
Not important, to be fair, because
Yeah.
Monkey Matt's got the race lead now, and we missed it, unfortunately.
Talking
So
about dots.
looks like on that last lap, Kyle Madden did a 2:05.5, so he's made a little bit of a mistake somewhere. Whether it's at the final corner, down at Hull Corner, we will never know. But unfortunately, we've missed that one. So Kyle Madden down there in P2 now. Monkey Matt takes the advantage. Monkey Matt hasn't been without a few mistakes though, so I don't imagine it'll stay this way for too long.
No, this isn't all over at all by a long shot. Monkey Matt, I mean, he hasn't won a race this season. It's been a long time between drinks for the Southern local, but yeah, he'll be. I mean, you've just got to stay calm. You watch the onboard there. You're watching him and his wheel work. You know that he's struggling with the car because his the amount of wheel work, the amount of hand movement. If you're one with the car and you're going well, the hand movements are. Steps the back out coming into Forest Elbow. If you're one with the car and going well and you're comfortable with the way it's handling, usually it's nice and smooth. Single movements through the corner, through the steering wheel. But as you'll see at the end of Conrod Straight, lots of hand movements. He's chopping and changing on the wheel. I think it's pretty consistent throughout the field, but it really just shows who's going to win this. They'll have earned it for sure.
Well, there's your code. If you get onto driven.co.nz, the wonderful place that Matt writes lots of amazing articles,
And a few
you'll
bad ones.
be able to enter the code vehicle and go on that draw to win a drive in a supercar and staying at SkyCity. Monkey Matt now comes around onto the front straight. Concentration. Lap 11, 4 to go.
Look at that, Matthew Pluck has got back up into P3 after all that, so good recovery for him. Northway now down in P5. He's lost a lot of time as well, so I imagine that damage that he's done to the front of his car has not done him any good, and it's obviously slowing him down a little bit.
Well, if you think about these cars and the shape that they cut through the air as they're going along, Northway's car has basically, because of the bow in the bonnet, has a way bigger front area than any other car on the grid. So he's going to be hurting in a straight line. He'll be hurting through corners because he'll have less visibility. Not good, but I think still someone for us to keep an eye on later tonight.
Well, you really you take Madden out of Australia, bring him to New Zealand. You do have to feel for him. He's had a hard championship. He had a couple of disconnects. You know, he's been up against it from the start. So I do hope Madden actually gets a podium for this such a big effort to come all the way to New Zealand and so unfortunate some of his races.
I don't want to put the mockers on him just yet, but What was the prediction I made earlier tonight?
This table's not made of wood, Simon, just FYI.
Touch ply? What is this? MDF?
Sideways. Oh, there's
Righto.
still a lot of errors, I think, out there, and the margin's quite comfortable, but I mean, these cars, part of why we love the supercars is because they're some of the least connected cars out there, and it really challenges the driver. You see a lot of attitude with these cars. When they hit curbs, they leap up into the air. When people jump on the brakes, they react. The back steps out, the front understeers. There's a lot going on, and it really they're a true challenge to drive. And you're seeing that with Monkey Matt's steering wheel theatrics and all the mistakes that are coming that are happening through the field. It's not over.
Talking about supercars, you guys out there in the weekend, did you watch the races?
Yeah.
No, we just had hot dogs.
So you
Just sat out the back.
Sat out the back?
Yeah.
That's what Genos do, isn't it?
I actually did have
sit
hot
in race
dogs,
control?
but I also watched the races, so I don't know what Simon's doing.
It was good. It was pretty good, yeah.
Lots of drama.
It's all about
Lots of
Scotty
drama.
McLaughlin and Shane Van Gisbergen.
Yeah, well, it wasn't the second race. It wasn't really supposed to be about them, but it ended up being that way. Some craziness. It's been 3-4 days since that event, and we still don't really understand how it all happened.
For those who didn't see, there was a phantom safety car that came out. Well, the safety car wasn't phantom, but it picked up what appeared to be the wrong car, and there has been total chaos
This is where the
in
Jamie
the days
Bing comes
since.
in. They were having
Absolutely,
too,
yeah.
and then they come back and the comments and oh boy.
Utter insanity. But the support classes were great too. They were pretty
Yep.
spectacular. Some pretty sizable shunts and central muscle cars. Some great racing in Formula Ford. BNT V8s with their all-comer style setup was pretty neat as well. Yeah, brilliant racing all round, really. Sangyong's even, was pretty cool.
That's obviously a promising thing also coming up to the New Zealand motorsport season. This was the first glimpse we saw some of these cars, loud, obnoxious, awesome looking cars that we're going to see around the calendar. Starts back at Pukekohe December for the Speedworks calendar, then goes down to Cromwell Highlands to see all of those guys going nuts down there is going to be cool. Tiratonga, D1NZ joins them. Back up. It's an amazing feat. These guys go weekend, back to back to back, like 5 weekends straight for TRS, the 86s. It's a huge feat for these motorsport, and the young kids too.
Yeah, and TCR as well, so that's going to be neat to see how that plays out next year. A lot of interest building around that.
Lots of teams sort of dropping liveries and that sort of stuff. So, check out more about the New Zealand motorsport scene. You just check out speedworks.co.nz and get yourself down there. Marshall, help. Go racing the track. We've been talking about esports and how amazing it is the last 7 weeks, but we need you guys to also get out, buy tickets and see the events live in action so we can keep putting on motorsport events. There's nothing like actually coming to the track and watching it. I've been a big ambassador of that for a long time.
Yeah, talk to your local car club. If you're up in Auckland, Motorsport Club do a fantastic job at Pukekohe and Hampton Downs. Topol Car Club down at Bruce McLaren Motorsport Park. You can go talk to them and help volunteer. Same with the car clubs down in Ruapuna, Highlands, Timaru, and Tiratonga, one of my favourite circuits in the world.
Dude, I'm looking forward to Tiratonga. I've heard they bring boats, they bring houses.
Tiratonga Tasties is the best though.
Never been, so I have no idea what you're talking
Mate,
about.
you're in for a treat.
The pulled pork sandwiches, they get a massive big uptick for me.
So if you're in the South Island and you're tuning in Sky TV, get down to Tiratonga or Highlands. Highlands will have it as well, Cromwell.
It's not as windy at Highlands.
January next year. Monkey Matt a lot more cleaner now, out on the lead, 203.9, 205 by Kyle. Matt in the Australian really dropping the ball here. Pluck might be able to close that gap a weenie, but 2 seconds between first and second, and then 4 seconds, so another 2 second gap. So Monkey Matt, look at the concentration and the wheel work coming through the top of the hill.
He's on an absolute tear, isn't he?
Well, remember at the start of the show we talked about the guys who've been winning all the races and how they would react being back in the pack. This is the inversion of that. He's a guy who's been 4th, 5th most of the season. Here he is, he's got the opportunity to lead, and he's putting in a fantastic performance. Touch wood. Hopefully we see him bring it home.
Yeah, well, Monkey Matt was 6th in the standings coming into tonight, and I predicted that he'd do.
You're trying to pull a Nostradamus on us.
Pretty okay. But I don't think really anyone was expecting Monkey Matt to do that good. Considering he'd been there or thereabouts, top 5, top 6 throughout the whole season, and all of a sudden he's come to Bathurst, and they say it brings the best out of you, and he's he's put it on top spot.
Mazzy's really dropped away. I think potentially if he has a blue or two, he might actually be under risk for second place, which doesn't sound like a huge amount, but in a night where it's all about accruing points and coming to an overall point total at the end of the night to find an ultimate champion, it's going to matter a huge amount if he loses that spot.
So here is the man currently sitting in second at the moment, Kyle, THR Madziau Madden. Lap 14 to 15 here, just 2 laps to go in race 1 of the night. He's looking pretty calm at the moment, not too much pressure behind him. Pluck is the best part of 2 seconds adrift in third. But it is one of those circuits where you can just make mistakes out of nowhere, isn't it? It's one that really punishes you if you go wide, if you just miss your apex by millimeters. So it's not like Dubai, we've got screeds of tarmac to play with.
Well, you talk about how there's no real passing opportunity in the second sector, and that makes the second sector sound a bit boring, but it's also one of those pieces of track that requires concentration for such a long period of time. If you think about the Bathurst layout, really your one chance to have a rest, have a little think to yourself, is Conrod, really. Apart from that, the entire place is full of craters and curves and walls to hit, grass to lose control on.
But even then, when you're going down Conrod Straight, you're still thinking about where can you make a pass? Can I draft the guy up ahead of me?
Did I leave the stove on?
Did I leave the stove on?
Kyle Madden nearly 4 seconds now, and Pluck is catching up.
This is what we're talking
Pluck
about.
Make a dash on the last lap, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, that
and
last
if he
lap
picks up the win for the next one, that could be him again, taking out the full 7 rounds and the final. Matthew Bull Pluck.
Pluck on that last lap did a 2:05.6 versus Madden on a 2:04.9. So somewhere along the way, Pluck has made up a bit of time now because that margin is certainly coming down. And there's only about a lap to go here. If you see Pluck get on that curb, get a little bit loose. So here comes Monkey Matt, crosses the start-finish line to start the final lap here in race 1 to hopefully take an advantage here going into the final race tonight. But it is the battle we watch now for second and third. Madden that last time by did a 2:05.28, whereas Pluck did a 2:04.304. So best part of a second between those two brought down on that last lap. So maybe by the end of this lap we'll see a bit of a dogfight for second. We'll have to wait and see, but it is Monkey Matt who leads the way here on this last lap.
Oh, look, you look further down the field here. Look at John Baggs. Robert Northway, 39 seconds behind the leader. That's so unlike Robert Northway. Bit of a lock up there from Monkey Matt. Now it's Monkey Matt's all to lose. He's just got to keep it on the black stuff. Keep it, he's got a 3-second margin. 1 lap to go. I do this every time.
Are you trying to put the commentator's curse on it?
He can't hear me this time.
Trying to ruin my buzz?
McPhillamy Park. Is that how you say it?
Yep.
Up over the top of the hill. Now, if you're a fan going to Bathurst, where's the best place to be?
I don't think there's a bad place to be.
Right.
It's all pretty good.
But you've got to pick somewhere because it's such a large circuit. So where do you go?
Oh, it's McPhillamy.
Top of the mountain, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to get there nice and early. You've got to spray paint your plot on the Thursday or the Wednesday. It's nuts up there. And
Pretty rowdy.
Absolutely rowdy. It's a giant mosh pit. Oh, sideways. But he gathers it up. To be fair, I mean, I've seen it that many times this race. That seems like it's probably the optimal line through Forest Elbow.
Watch his face. Watch his reaction. He knows now. He knows where's the smile going to crack.
Only 2-3 corners to go, and Monkey Matt will be a race winner in LPL.
His best this season has been a third in round 15.
I think he actually took a win last season, so we're a little bit surprised to see him not do too well this season. We can watch the battle for second behind him, but it doesn't really matter at the moment because Monkey Matt is going to round the final corner and take 1 step closer to taking out the final round here at Bathurst Mount Panorama. He is absolutely pumped. Takes the headphones off, punches the air, says booyah. P1 for Monkey Matt. Madsy comes home in P2. Matthew Bull Pluck will be disappointed, probably.
He's not happy with
down
that
in
result.
P3. Monkey Matt already out of the seat to go spray some champagne. A great result for him tonight in race 1 here at Mount Panorama. We'll hopefully get the results through soon, but I think the biggest disappointment for all of us has to be Robert Northway there down in P5.
Yeah, such an uncharacteristic mistake for Northway. Can't see him on camera right now. That's Monkey Matt standing up. Kyle Madden, the Australian, sitting next to him. Go to Northway. Here we go, he comes across the line. He won't be happy with this. You can see the disappointment in his face.
Wow. Yeah, takes the head off, knows he's made a mistake. Really disappointed. See Prince there. Comes home P6. Jesus Christ. No reaction from the hustling Husky down at P7. Alistair Kuiper's just happy to be here down in P8.
They're happy to be here. If you're not winning, you should crash, get the cameras on you. It's okay, you can bring it back. Alistair Kuiper's in race 2. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. We go to the official results for race 1, Bathurst, the grand finale. And it is Monkey Matt, the Kiwi, taking it out before Kyle Madden, the Australian, in second position.
Matthew Pluck comes home a close third. He'll be disappointed with that result there, all things considered. John Baggs comes home P4. Robert Murphy's Law Northway, we saw the disappointment on his face, comes home P5. Prenz, Seeker and Dave Stone, Alistair Kuipers rounding out the order here tonight. 15 laps, race 1 of Mount Panorama, done and dusted. We've got one more to go tonight to decide who's going to be $500 richer.
Well, I just can't take the Fox seriously, guys.
He's a Husky.
He's a Husky. Husky, Fox, it's the same thing. Now, that was a bit of an interesting race, though. Northway, nowhere to be seen, ladies and gentlemen. If you're just tuning in, we saw someone who hasn't even won a race this season. It's only going to heat up more. So stay tuned, get yourself a drink. We'll be back with race 2 right after the break. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Let's Play Live Star Insurance Project Cars, but it's all about hola, LPL AU, LPL NZ. It's simple as that. Get onto Google Play or the App Store and download the app. And I think pretty much the first ride is on Ola, thanks to LPL. My name is Brendan White. If you're just joining us in studio, we have Matthew Hansen from driven.co.nz giving away a ride in a Huracan. And Simon Chapman, and what a barn burner, as you would say, Simon, of a first race.
Yeah, brilliant stuff at Bathurst. I think there's a bit more drama to come, though. I think Northway and Pluck will be pretty hot under the collar after 2 big mistakes for those guys.
Big mistakes? Well, it's really just such not what we expected at all. We expected either Pluck or Northway to be taking this out, or a tiebreaker.
Yeah, crazy. Well, it'd be interesting to see how the championship would have played out potentially if this was part of the round robin. That really could have changed the way things played out. But, tonight it's about bragging rights, and Monkey Matt's got one step closer to getting 500. Kiwi or Aussie or dollars?
Let's just say AUD,
AUD,
don't like mine. Yeah. So we look at the emotion too on these guys. We've got to touch on that. Having these guys in studio, you can see it, Monkey Matt, just the reaction to them, and then the sad, the anger emotion of the guys just coming a bit further down. I know it's not cool to see on TV, but it's cool to actually finally see these guys' faces.
Well, it's great. We get to see a little bit of emotion. The hustling Husky doesn't really give us much to play with in his emotions, but you see here, Northway, he was gutted after that race, finishing P5. He was so distraught. Threw away a good chance there at a top 3. Dave Stone, Alistair Kuipers, just happy to be here. Some of the other guys too, really just keen to race. Now,
let's just touch on a quick few things, because we changed a lot of things up in this Project Cars Championship for Season 3. Thing that I liked, sprint races. The fact that you had 2 sprint races and then you had a feature race, that's really chucked the guys, because usually they were spending 10 to 20 hours a week practicing one track. Now they had 2 tracks and a totally different track in wet and dry, which really made practicing hard, so it brought out the better drivers. Any main points for you that was different and great about this season?
Well, it's pretty much echoing your sentiments there. I think that really gave them a big challenge, especially with how the points played out. You really probably wanted to put a lot of emphasis on the feature race to get 200 points to your credit, but also you can't sacrifice those sprint races, because if you have 1 or 2 bad results, as we saw for Northway, that can really affect how your championship plays out. I think the variation in the cars has been quite cool. Seeing different kinds of cars, different powertrains. Cool to see open wheelers for the first time in the championship, so that was really cool for me.
Matt?
Oh, it's all the different cars. I think we're seeing it tonight as well in terms of the mixture of results, the inconsistencies of drivers who are obviously getting attacked by a car that they haven't really raced that much this year. It's been really good.
Well, it's been a championship title for fight, and like in any motorsport, there's a lot of drivers. So we took a bit of time out to meet the drivers and find out a bit about their personalities. So let's go behind the scenes and check out some of our races from this year's championship.
The season went pretty well. I usually try and get through with consistency. There was a few disconnections, I think, that cost me a few points. So
A little bit disappointing, but I just got really unlucky with, a few little game glitches and, contact that really wasn't my fault and different things like this that really sort of set me back, and I was just on the back foot right from pretty much round one.
A lot of times when I was racing more for points rather than position in a race, so there's a lot of risk management where there's times I just settled for second or third instead of pushing and risking it for an extra 10 points or so.
Race 1 here tonight. The sprint race ahead of Simon Bishop and Matthew Bull Pluck.
Commentators kept saying I kept making a lot of mistakes, but I didn't feel like I was making a lot. The problem was the person who bet me made none.
There it is, Matthew Bull Pluck's going to come across the line.
The alternating coverage week makes for a lot more practice, I guess, and a lot more variation week to week.
Some of the cars were just real hard to handle, like the Toyota GT4. It was awful on the brakes.
It definitely allowed people with different talents, I guess, to shine through. Like I say with the open wheelers, I was pretty good in those where some people struggled, and then the slower GT4s and GT3s, other people were able to sort of get more pace in.
It's a difficult one. Some cars suit some drivers, other cars don't. And then with fixed setups as well, it makes it very difficult.
It's good to have a bit of a mixture in the format, so your sprint races, you obviously just go hard out. Short race, something like that, tyre wheel or field or anything like that, it's quite simply just a sprint to the finish.
I like the format. I think with it being so drastic different weathers, like each week, like from each track to track, makes it hard again for practicing. Like you got three, even though the two sprint races are the same track, they're generally completely different weather scenarios. So it's not like you can practice one weather scenario and that's going to help you a little bit in the other. They're just completely different.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. A bit of a behind the scenes of the drivers and their thoughts. Esport racing, sim racing, it's growing at an amazing rate globally. And these guys, they're the top of the bunch for Australia and New Zealand. It was pretty cool to see, I guess, someone like Madden saying to us, look, it's great how we've chopped and changed with the tracks because it makes it a level playing field. What were some of the standout comments for you, Simon, from the drivers there?
Oh, Robert Northway was throwing a bit of shade at us.
I heard that.
For calling him
What's
out.
this us stuff, mate? I reckon I've been saying a lot, Robert. You're my boy, but what about you, Simon?
He's made a couple of mistakes, but he's not wrong when he says that the guy who's beating him is literally finishing ahead of him in most of the races. So, interesting comments there. Some of the guys saying that the differences in the cars obviously creating a lot of challenges. I think the coolest thing as well, something that we probably haven't touched on so much, is the weather. There are some places where it doesn't even rain, and we managed to simulate that.
Like Dubai?
In Dubai. And some tracks where it certainly does get quite wet, and you can replicate the puddles and all the craziness that goes on around the world.
Like the variations of cars was something that the drivers touched on as well. One year we did a whole season in the Janetta and it kind of just got repetitive and boring, where Preens and Bags, one of them hates the fact that they've got different cars. The other love the variation of cars. So it is being very much a mixed bag of results or feedback from these drivers. But overall, I think the biggest thing, the best change they made was the fact that they did 2 sprint races in a feature and they mixed it up so much.
Yeah, it's been really cool. Big shout out on the chat at the moment on Twitch. Dan Shields, last year's champion, is in with us tonight on Twitch watching the racing tonight. Just some comments about Seeker saying, what's with the suit? Is he actually racing in that? But yeah, Dan,
yes.
Shout out to you. Well done with all that's going on over in Europe. Fantastic product of Project Cars 2 and LPL, assigned F1 driver in esports for Mercedes.
Yeah, that is a huge feat. And if you guys are tuning in on Sky, you can download a little app called Twitch on the App Store, and you can actually get in and chat with Daniel on the Twitch stream. Now, let's have a look. We're obviously racing again, 15 laps. Who is going to be the mover and shaker? Who's going to be the doctor of the clinic tonight? But before we do that, let's have a look at the track conditions for race 2. Well, Simon, looks pretty much the same here.
Yeah, sun is setting on the championship tonight, and the sun is also setting on Mount Panorama. Certainly getting a little bit darker out there, but a little bit warmer, in fact. 24 degrees on track, ambient of 16 degrees, 6 km/h easterlies, medium cloud on the circuit. Don't need to worry about pitting for tyres or for fuel. It's a sprint to the finish, 15 laps around Mount Panorama. We will get into qualifying in a moment and see how this is all shaking out. We've got 4 minutes left to go, and it is Kyle Madden who stands on pole position at the moment. Monkey Matt has set a representative lap time at 2:03.402, but he'll be looking to go faster as the sun sets on the circuit here. Turns in hard down at the end of the Comrade Straight, and really loose there by the looks of things. Really struggling to bring that car under control. He'll head down to the final corner now. We'll see what he can do here. Set a quicker lap time. What does he do? He's got a 2:03.4 to his name. Does he go quicker? Any moment now, we'll see. He does a 2:02.811, but that doesn't take him up the order. It is currently Northway on a 2:01.9 who leads the way, 3/10 ahead of Kyle Madden.
Well, if you're in Monkey Matt Smith's shoes, being pipped by Northway isn't the worst thing in the world. Huge sideways through Griffin's Bend for Northway, and Madsy behind him, actually. Obviously, you know, tonight, the winner of it all, the winner who takes it, is going to be the one who scores the most points on average. And you know, Monkey Matt, I mean, if he's thinking about this properly, he'll be thinking about getting cars between himself and Madsy. He's the number one target to think about.
Yeah, one thing we haven't even thought about, I guess, is in terms of the point structure, whether they're going to use the feature race point structure or the sprint race sort of setup. You know, it could change the way these guys play out. We'll wait and see by the end of tonight, but Robert Northway is really hanging this Ford Falcon FG all over the track. You can see his face is super stale at the moment. Not a lot of emotion coming out of him after race 1. He only finished 5th there, so he'll be a little bit dark after that. You can certainly see a lot is going on the wheel there, a lot of wheel work, a little bit of a scratch of the eye there, maybe just feeling the effects. Certainly hot there in the studio. We come out of here at the end of tonight and you can certainly feel the heat coming from the other room.
You talk about the different conditions for this race and the evening conditions with the sun setting. It's really pretty, but it's also going to raise a few differences for the drivers. Most of, well, a big portion of the circuit, as we see a big sideways coming out of the chase for Northway. A big portion of the circuit's covered completely in shadow, that whole second sector, you know, so brake markers and things like that, turn-in points, become a little bit tougher to see. And then down at the bottom of the straight, just like in real life as well, you've got this low-hanging sun that stares you right in the face as you come up over the front straight. Huge sideways. Was that a 99 run, Brendan, there through turn 1?
Well, I was just looking at Northway. He didn't actually better his first time, so he was chucking it as hard as he could. He doesn't really like the way we've commentated about this this year, so I'm going to give him a bit of a break for this race. I'm going to say he's going to do very, very well. He's an amazing driver, currently sitting in pole position. How do you score a 100-point run in drifting? Well, I guess that's just go check out James Dean from Texas Formula Drift last weekend. 100-point run done, and we will see those executed in D1NZ this coming season as we now go on board with Kyle Madden, currently second position. 202.
Oh, big wall hit.
Massive wall hit.
Problem, I mean, so he hit the wall there, and that would have cost him a bit of time initially. He's keeping on with this lap too. You can see him hanging the tail out, coming up over McPhillamy and through Reed Park. That initial wall hit was one thing, but it bounced the car across the road to the other side of the circuit, which ultimately cost him probably even more time. That's where the time is lost there. But as you can see, he's hanging the tail out. This is going to be one of his last opportunities to nail some kind of lap time in here to try to challenge Monkey Matt.
Yeah, and the problem you've got too now is there's only 5 seconds left in the session. This will be his last lap. He won't have any more chances to clock a time, but it is Northway who's bounced back at the moment, has the top time. We see Matthew Pluck get super loose. He is hustling hard and he collects the wall. He's going to hit the wall hard there, so that'll put an end to his qualifying session. Matthew Pluck shunts the Ford Falcon hard at the top of the mountain there. He will put it into the pit lane and start from P3, we imagine. Monkey Matt, our race 1 winner for the night. He's only done a 202.811. Can he go faster? He just has a little bit of an inside wheel lock up towards the end of this lap here. What can he do now? Just one more corner to go. It is Northway who sits atop the pile on pole position on a 201.9. What can Monkey Matt do? He comes across the line. We see one car spinning around in front of him on the front straight. That's Robert Northway. Monkey Matt goes to P3. So just edges ahead of Pluck. 4 tenths off the pace, a 202.461. Monkey Matt happy with that. I imagine gets P3 for that race. That'll give him the inside line for the start. This is our rookie man, Prenz, a debutant at the start of the season, but is now experienced in the top 8. He's currently 6th. What can he do? Doesn't go any faster there. So this is his first competitive tournament in esports. He's only been racing in sim racing for 16 weeks. So great job from him, all things considered. Here is your qualifying results now. Robert Murphy's Law Northway on pole position by just a 10th of a second. We expect to see a pretty fierce battle between him and Kyle Madden in this race. Monkey Matt comes home P3. Expect him to go faster after that race 1 win. Matthew Pluck comes home in P4. John Baggs, Prenz, Dave Stone and Seeker round out the order here at SkyCity. We watch now the players get ready for the final race here in the Project Cars 2 ANZ Championship. It is race 2 of the night at Mount Panorama. You can see the hustling Husky nearest to screen. He's got the fan ablaze as well.
You can see the emotion in his eyes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. We're sinking. We are going racing the last race for 2019 for the Let's Play Live Star Insurance Project Cars 2 Championship. Simon, take it away.
Here we go. Robert Murphy's Law Northway has pole position for this race, but he got bogged down on the start a little bit, and that allowed Madden to get around the outside briefly there, but he can't quite make the most of it. Ooh. Just slots into P2 on the run up Mountain Straight, ducks the nose to the left. Just a little bit of overlap going up Mountain Straight. They go side by side. He's got the side draft, but it's Pluck who's got a good start there to sit in P3. Monkey Matt's fallen down to P4. Can Northway hold on? Madden goes right around the outside. This is a fantastic move if he can pull it off. We watch Northway now. What's he going to do? Slots back into P2 now. So it is Madden who leads the way ahead of Northway. Pluck in P3. This is fantastic racing here at the start. We go up towards the top of the hill, the highest part of the circuit any moment now, but it is Robert Murphy's Law Northway sitting in second now behind Madden, Pluck. Watching on in P3 there, Monkey Matt in P4 and Prenz doing a good job there to maintain P5. Monkey Matt getting super loose over the top of the hill here. This is the highest part of the circuit. We come down to Brock Skyline now, and it is Madden still with a bit of a margin over Northway. Northway will be a little bit dark after that start there, but it was a brilliant overtake from Kyle Madden around the outside at turn 2 to get the inside at turn 3 and take the lead position away.
Most importantly, 2 cars between our 2 big combatants for this overall prize. And don't forget Pluck either in 3rd place. It'll be interesting to see as the laps develop whether he's gained a bit of confidence or gained a bit of speed in that car over the last race. We talked about the disappointment of Northway, but it looked to me like Pluck was actually just as disappointed because not only did he not get the result he was after, but he wasn't able to recover from that lap 1 sort of skirmish at turn 1. So let's see how this develops as this time goes on. It looks like Pluck is actually sizing up a move for 2nd place.
This is a really important stage of the race when it's all super close at the start of this race. Monkey Matt needs to make some moves early on if he wants to have a chance of winning this overall. He's already got race 1 win to his name. We see Pluck just show his nose a little bit.
His lights are on too in that car.
A little bit wide there of the apex, and that's going to open up the door for Pluck to get a run here on Northway. Northway uncharacteristically out of shape here at the start of this race. And again, the side draft for Pluck around the outside. Is he going to get the move done before they even get to the corner? What's Northway going to do? He's got a bit of experience now. Oh. Does he give him the door? What does he do? No, hangs Pluck wide, and Pluck can't quite take the position like Madden did just a lap earlier. This is going to allow Monkey Matt to get involved. As we see Pluck go hard into the wall there. Big hit for Pluck. Hasn't done too much damage though, but it's certainly bringing Monkey Matt back into contention.
We've seen a few of those in real life, and what's in the wall as well goes Northway at Reed Park, but we see that happen in real life as well in terms of side-on impact with the concrete walls, and the thing that is really important is to make sure you keep your steering straight in that instance. Otherwise, one of the big things that tends to happen to your car is bent steering. So it'll be interesting to see if Pluck's pace drops off after that impact. Potentially not. I mean, we saw so much wall contact throughout this race, throughout the earlier race, I should say. Monkey Matt, he will have seen that. He'll be thinking about a dive at the end of the chase here.
Well, the question is, where does Monkey Matt have to place to take it? All right, so it's basically second, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, the big wild card out of the top 4 is Northway. He doesn't care about who's going to win this whole thing. All he wants to do is prove Simon and his aggressive comments against him are wrong and get the win.
Well, did Madden came second in the first race?
Yes.
So
to Monkey Matt, yes.
Yeah. So right now he's leading. So it's all on Madden. If Madden maintains this lead, the Australian's taking it.
Absolutely, but we've seen so many mistakes tonight. Unforced errors, big sideways moments, wall impacts. We've even seen a few of them in the race so far. Anything can happen. Bathurst, vintage Bathurst.
Standard issue, really. Bit of a margin now, blowing out Northway just under a second.
It's definitely a four-way fight here. I mean, this is part of what I love about having this sort of build up to a final where you bring the real your best contenders to the final showdown. It's the cream rising to the top, and we're not surprised at all with 3 of these drivers, but certainly Matt Smith out of nowhere really.
Lap 3 of 15 here, plenty of time left to go in this one. Mount Panorama, the sun is setting on the circuit, but Kyle Madden, wow.
Very close.
Crazy close to the wall.
Just when you think, look, they're settling down, they're giving each other some space, someone will just lose that focus. Kyle Madden on the left-hand side of your screen. Team Highlands, and is that one of their official eSport teams? Simon, do you know?
No, I don't know.
Okay. Team Highlands. I'm pretty sure they've got an esports team that does racing, and that is who they represent. You see the hat, you see the t-shirt for Kyle Madden out of Australia on the lead down Conrod Straight now. Matthew Bull Pluck trying to chase down Robert Northway. Only a second in it between those two. Monkey Matt though, he really needs to get up if he's going to take this out. What an exceptional first race he had, but right now he needs a mistake between Northway and Pluck, which could be highly likely.
Yeah, not uncommon to see a bit of loosey-goosey stuff in these Ford Falcons. Monkey Matt sitting down there in B4, just looking to pass Pluck.
Whoa!
And Northway, the pair of them getting really loose into the final corner there, staring into the sun on this final race of the season. Big crowd here for this one, as you see on the front straight there and into turn 1, into Hell Corner. It is Madden though who leads the way here in the final, and the margin is certainly growing, but the battle for second is starting to heat up now as Northway comes under pressure here from Pluck. Pluck trying to go to his outside on the long straight here, up Mount Straight. Can he get the pass done even before they get there? I think he might. Hopefully cuts them now, and there it is. Pluck gets the position done. Northway down to P3 now, and Monkey Matt will hopefully make some headway. What can he do now that, did he just spin out? I can't tell there. No, he just got maybe a little bit loose, hanging the tail out, trying to catch Robert Northway. This is some great racing. I've just been reminded that THR.
Big
impacts.
Was that Robert Northway?
I think that might have been. And he's got past, so yeah, that's Monkey Matt. Northway's gone. He's gone, he's out of the competition. Should we cut to him in studio? We'll see what's happened. He's gone, he's out.
He is not happy.
Out of the seat. Oh, absolute drama here. What has happened? He throws the bird at someone.
Takes his toys.
And he's out. I think he's gone.
It's just
drama here at Let's Play Live. Chaos in the final. Northway maybe just hitting the wall too hard and his car getting too damaged.
Madden, Pluck, Monkey Matt 3 seconds behind the leader. Monkey Matt needs to get up in front of Pluck, but they have thinned out a bit here. A 3-second deficit between first and third. 13 seconds, a whole 10 seconds between first and fourth. John Baggs way down there. Preens in 17. Seeker, the flying Husky, in 19th, and Dave Stone, us Kuipers, in 7th position. It is not over here yet. Action aplenty in lap 4 of 15.
I think the big thing here, I mean, Pluck, he was very clean in the opening race, just lacked the pace. I don't think Monkey Matt in third place can really rely on him to make a mistake. What I think is going to be interesting here is whether Pluck is going to be able to catch up to the first place, Madden in the lead. It's a big margin, but there's still quite a few laps remaining now for him to do it and spur on a battle, because I think that's really the big hope here for Monkey Matt in third if he wants to try and take the crown tonight.
So we're down to 7 players now, and the gap has certainly blown out there after Robert Northway had a bit of a shunt there at the top of the mountain. I can't say we've ever had something quite like that happen before. We saw in season 1 of Project Cars 2, we saw some drama between 2 of the drivers, and there was certainly some words exchanged. I remember in one of the seasons here, we could hear it from inside the
Smith,
studio.
I think, just
Josh Ritchie.
lost. Yeah, Josh Ritchie just lost his rag. There you go, Kyle. Whoa, that was a big, nearly 3 wheels. And you've got to remember, if they put 4 wheels off on the circuit, that can be an in-game penalty, and that could be the finish of him. Madden out on the lead, but only a second now between him and Pluck, so the gap has closed. Ooh. Under a second now. Monkey Matt has to get into second, which would mean it'd be a tiebreaker.
Yeah, which would mean that Madden gets the win, though. So Monkey Matt really has to finish second and hope that Madden finishes third. And at the moment, the way it's going, it's not going to be that way. Pluck is down in P2, so at the moment, Madden's going to be your winner. But we are only on lap 5 here of 15, so there's still plenty of time left to go.
I reckon that gap first to second is tightening slowly but surely between those 2 guys. And the big thing is, when it gets to a certain threshold, Pluck will be able to actually take advantage of the draft from that lead car on the run up the hill, up Mountain Straight, and also on the run down the hill coming down Conrod Straight. So that's what he's going to be looking for. That a 10th here, a 10th there.
Seeker's having the time of his life, eh? Look at him go. He's in P6 at the moment. He's going to come away with a bit of money.
You can see him grinning from ear to ear.
He's in the air just...
Wait, has he got headphones under the helmet?
You're gonna need to burn those headphones afterwards. They will not be fit for human
We need to
consumption.
interview him afterwards and see how he's feeling, because I'm sure after 2 races in that condition, he'd be very hot.
Shotgun not.
They can't hear us here. He's just in his own little world, eh? Postman, postman, something like that's in his headphones. You do think, it's unfortunate though, he has had a pretty good season, and I think wearing the Husky suit has disadvantaged him in the grand final just a weeny bit.
I reckon he might have gone all right if he'd done the entire season without it, but he's proving that you can still do it and be competitive, so props to him. I'd feel pretty bad if you were in that bottom 8, knowing that you got beaten by some dude in a Husky suit.
Now, dude, don't say... All right, anyway, we'll change. Alistair Kuipers is going to murder you after the show.
What do you mean? He's in the top 8. He was only separated by 2 points.
Right, the gap between Pluck and Monkey Matt now out to nearly 5 seconds. I see you going to Dave Stone. This is the guy getting beaten, and I feel... No, I'm not even going to go there.
Oh, what do you mean?
Let's just cut to Kyle Madden. All right, Kyle Madden out on the lead. Lap 6 of 15, near the halfway mark. Only a second between him and Pluck. We really need Pluck to do something, because the grand final is going to go to, no offence Daniel, because I know you're tuned in, is going to go to an Australian again.
We talked about Matt Smith in the previous race and the amount of wrestling he was doing with the steering wheel. Way more relaxed now, having a look at Madsy, racing the same car, same track, but you can see his movements with that wheel much more precise, much more fingertippy. And that's potentially part of why he's doing such a good job of holding off Pluck at the moment, who isn't doesn't look like he's made any further inroads in the last couple of laps.
Wow.
Nearly spoke too soon. Nearly spoke too soon.
Using all the road possible. Kyle Madden pushing on that margin, stable at about a second now, 1.2 over Pluck. The Aussie is pushing hard here on lap 7 of 15. THR, before I was going to say, we had that untimely incident. THR has actually got quite a bit of a profile in Australia and New Zealand, one of the biggest esports competitors, I should say, in the region. Kyle, one of those competitors, and obviously putting on a good performance for those guys.
Well, the deficit now out to 2 seconds. Pluck having some mistakes up over the hill, maybe a bit of connection with the wall. Extended that gap out, takes the pressure off Kyle Madden now. No pressure on Pluck, 5 seconds between him and Monkey Matt. Matt Smith from Christchurch, John Baggs, 20 seconds behind Monkey Matt as they settle into nearly the halfway mark point as they come down Conrod Straight.
Madden on that last lap did a 2:03.3 versus a 2:03.1 for Pluck, but that margin is on this last lap certainly blown out just a little bit. It was probably 1.2 seconds, now it's 1.8. We'll look on this lap now to see what the margin steps out to. Madden this time by will do a 2:03, I imagine. So it's a 2:03.8, and Pluck does a 2:04.7. So certainly the tyres falling off here potentially in this race, and Pluck just losing a little bit of time to the lead.
Well, Robert Northway has left the building by the sounds of it as well. So not happy with the result there. And look, you do have to give him credit. He has had some amazing moments in this championship for Let's Play Live.
Aren't I supposed to interview him?
I don't know. Are you?
I guess I'm just interviewing first and third.
We will catch it. Maybe you just needed a bit of fresh air out of the studio.
Seeker's P3.
Well, we could get Seeker in there.
I'm going to get to interview the Hustling Husky. Is he going to maybe take the...
Get him to take it off.
Is he going to take the hat off?
We can finally reveal his true identity.
Reveal who he is. That could be interesting. Stay tuned for that.
Sounds like a lot of sweat to me.
That's why he wears racing balaclava underneath, apparently. Fireproof.
Because it certainly gets lit in the studio, doesn't it?
Oh, it just did with Robert Northway.
We'll have to wait and see how that one plays out tonight. It is lap 8 here at 15. Matthew Pluck sitting here in B2, scratching the nose for a bit of luck maybe. Needs to cut down that margin now. It's back down to 1.4. See now Monkey Matt, he's dropped well back in P3 now, doing consistently sort of mid 204s. Hasn't quite been able to keep pace with the leaders, but perhaps these conditions not quite playing to his strong suit.
Here's John Baggs, quite achiever of the race so far. I mean, we've had a lot of focus on those leading 4, now leading 3, but best of the rest, still a great effort. We've seen a lot of great rookies and first-timers come through for this final, and a lot of clean cars as well. That's probably the big thing to note. Not a lot of huge stacks and not a lot of huge damage at a track which normally encourages all that stuff.
Your John Baggs just making the cut into the top 8. So the pressure was on him a bit last week to get through that bubble, so he made it. And obviously this week, we weren't expecting amazing things, but sitting in 4th position, you'd be happy with that result coming into a final. Prenz, on the other hand, he's sitting in 5th position coming into the championship. He's had another driver that's just had some breakout moments for the championship, and no doubt someone that we'll see in esports and motor racing in the coming years. We've moved back up to the top of the pack here. Matthew Pluck ever so closer to Kyle Madden now.
Well, this is fascinating. How will this affect the championship if Madden gets passed by Pluck in terms of who wins? Imagine with 2 second placings, potentially for Madden, and a first and a third between the two of them. That could still, I believe, that could still be a tiebreaker. I think, on points.
But then does it get? It will go to Madden because he got the higher place in the second race.
Theoretically.
We go to race control, Ricky. You do it. I don't think we're going to have time for a bonus sprint race here. Maybe we just go for an all-out arm wrestle out in the foyer. Drag race down Conrod Straight.
What, in drag?
No, something.
How would that work for Seiko?
Well, he's not in it.
No, but if he was, it'd be quite a complicated affair, wouldn't it?
Lap 9 of 15 here for Bathurst. This is dubbed Scotty's one to lose, right?
Yeah,
this
well,
Bathurst coming up.
He's been so dominant, and I think gets a little bit loose there. We lost a bit of time there to Madden. Yeah, a lot of chatter in the media about McLaughlin and how he's going to go at Bathurst this year. I think, Matt, you and I, we've watched Bathurst ever since we were born, I guess. For McLaughlin, you know, in his last few outings, you would say he's had pretty good chances in all of them, right? But he's just been so dominant this year. You'd have to say it definitely is his to lose.
Well, I mean, he's reset the record. You know, as per last weekend, the most successful season of anyone's ever had in a supercar, and we've got still quite a big chunk of racing to go. But yeah, Bathurst has been a bit of a bogey track for him. I think one podium in
And that was last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly, and that was last year.
Can I just touch on that? You say the most successful, wins in one season, and you talk about the Mustang, you talk about parity, and then you talk about how supercars is now bringing. He just wanted a drink. How they're now bringing out changes in the engines for next year, and is there anything to do with the wins, or is it just that they want the racing to be more exciting, or less? What are these changes and why?
All of that, I think.
I think it's probably been a long time coming. The Mustang and its success has probably got a few people within the paddock talking more about it. But certainly, the idea of trying to reduce costs has been, a theme for the last couple of years, and reducing the amount of power that those engines make is going to, cut back. I think I read today approximately $40,000 or $50,000 per car on the grid. So, it's going to reduce costs and hopefully bring in a few more teams and drivers, and maybe even encourage teams to not pursue as many pay drivers and think about other options. So I think it's a really good thing for the sport, and it should be interesting.
Got to constantly evolve, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And keep it in a realistic realm, and it's something we're doing constantly with D1NZ as well. You're adapting, you're growing motorsport, you're listening to the fans, and sometimes some fans might not like it, but you're listening to the overall, and you're looking at, say, a 2 or 3 year or 5 year plan with your categories in your motorsport. So it's always interesting. You're always going to get those social keyboard warriors that just jump on there and don't even come to the events and just watch it and type away, and you guys will be used to that as journos.
Yeah. That's this day in and day out, isn't it?
Oh, yes, for sure.
All right, lap 11 of 15 here as they come up over the top. Still that 1 second advantage for Kyle Madden. I just hear in my ear that we may have an interview after the race with Northway. We're definitely going to grab the Bathurst winner, and if that is Pluck, we'll also grab the championship winner. Maybe even interview that Fox. You've requested it, sorry. Husky.
We'll see how that plays out. One thing to note as well, if Pluck does manage to catch Madden, the way that the tiebreaker could play out is that Monkey Matt could actually get it because he's got a win. So by default, having a win over Madden should give him the win for the night, regardless of the result of the second race. So
yes,
that'll be interesting to see how it goes. We'll have to see how the points play out. So we'll have to see how that goes.
Yeah, I hear in race control they're trying. I can hear the chatter.
Trying to do the maths.
There he is.
You can hear the abacus is getting torn up.
Oh, Pluck closing that gap up sideways, coming
So hear in our ear now that if Pluck does get ahead of Madden, that Madden would actually get it on points. So it's a 4-point difference.
If he catches him and they nerf each other, though.
Monkey Matt.
Sorry, Monkey Matt will get it.
Oh,
Get it right, Simon.
The first and the third, not the 2 seconds.
Right.
a lot to play for then. And Pluck is definitely still pushing. I mean, we've been watching him tracking his car for a couple of laps now. He's using every piece of road. He's clipping that wall on the inside of Sulman Park, heading towards Reed Park. He's pushing pretty hard in that car. Headlights ablaze. They've been ablaze all race long, trying to get into the mind and into the rearview mirror of Madsy in first.
It's certainly getting darker, isn't it?
Let's see if Madsy makes any mistakes on these walls as they're coming over. Scrapes. That was actually Matthew Bull Pluck making the mistake, but only ever so slightly. You see it in real life. The wing mirrors along those walls. You just see it at the Hamilton 400 and how they just
back in the day.
Yeah, they'd take the wing mirrors off.
So still stable at 1 second now. Can Pluck make a move? Can Madden keep it on the straight and narrow? What will happen here? Will Monkey Matt benefit from it all? He's in no man's land at the moment, down in P3 there, 9 seconds adrift. So I don't think we'll be seeing much more from him. We see Pluck get super loose there. Loses maybe a 10th to Madden. That margin back out to 1.2 seconds. That certainly won't help his cause.
Well, it really reduces any chance of Monkey Matt being able to capitalise if there's an incident between these two. Because 9 seconds, I mean, you can fit a pretty big mistake into a 9-second gap. Even if they come to blows, there's every chance that they may retain first and second in the following laps, even if it's a big error or a big crash.
Well, it is Kyle Madden's to lose at the moment. Brisbane local. We brought him all the way to New Zealand to win an Australian event, potentially. Second championship. He was there last year.
Yeah, I believe so. And it looks like for 2 years in a row we're going to have an Aussie win a title here.
Bathurst. It started at Bathurst when we did the live one in SkyCity Theatre all those years ago. And then we went through and we finished with Bathurst again last year as we check on Seeker.
Still enjoying himself.
Just having a great old time. In 5th position now too. Prenz in 7th. So we missed something there.
Well, Prenz has had a pit stop, so he's recovering from that stop. He'll have fresh tyres. He'll, maybe be getting, making up some time on the timesheets. But I mean, we saw it in race 1. No one made a stop, but it's definitely beyond being an alternative strategy. But it'll be interesting to see if he can claw back that margin.
Now, if you guys are just tuning in and joining us on Sky TV or on Twitch, and you want to find out more, get onto Let's Play Live. You can check it out on Facebook. We've got our website as well. $6,500 AUD was up for grab in this championship, and it will be coming back again sometime soon. So just stay tuned to the websites. There's also lots of other leagues that you can join in on and play for money. John Baggs, now we have a look at him sitting in 4th position. This is the one, Matt, that you said it's just a bit of screen time for him.
Yeah, just trucking along, and it's the field always has to have those players who are just on the fringe, and he's the kind of name that you just tuck into the back of your mind for next season. See how he grows in the off season. Certainly, we've seen some of the characters in this season's championship. People who weren't quite so elevated last year who've come to the party, and I think Pluck is a really good example of that.
I think that's an important thing to note as well. Look, you don't just come straight into the room box. You've got to do the hard work. You've got to do the hard yards. You've got to not give up. And for any motorsport person out there, those great names you see, whether it's Van Gersbergen or McLaughlin, you have a look at some of those guys' photos. They were racing when they were 10, 11, 12. They've been doing the hard yards. So when you see these guys, Seeker, John Baggs, Monkey Matt, sitting a bit further down the table, do not discount the fact that they don't give up. You will see them in the top of the table as they come through and in the championship ranks. It's the same you see in New Zealand. So this is our top 8 for New Zealand and Australia. So that in itself is kudos to them. We look at Kyle Madden now, still that 1 second gap of Pluck and Madden.
He's got his lights on now, Madden, so I think he's taking it maybe a wee bit more seriously, although he's got no one to aim those lights at, but it'll help him in the shadows. I think the track genuinely is getting a wee bit darker as these laps wear on, which again, I mean, you know, it's going to make it just that bit easier to make mistakes. It'll cool the racing surface just a little bit, having the sun, you know, taken off it on more portions of the track, and it creates some pretty dramatic footage, as you can see.
So I saw an announcement with the Supercheap 1000 coming up that they're starting it later this year as well.
By 15 minutes or something.
Oh, is it only 15 minutes?
Not much difference really in the grand scheme of things. The race will probably be one of the fastest, I imagine, on record if it all goes to plan, just with the way the cars are developed. This season we've seen a lot of lap records be broken just about every single event. I think we could see Scott McLaughlin's time from last year shattered. Talking to some of the guys in the pit lane at Pukekohe, that they're expecting that the lap record could be blown out by half a second, like in practice. That's sort of the way that things are shaping up for this year, just with the amount of aerodynamic parity changes and things that are going on.
Bit of a lock up there by Kyle Madden coming down Conrod Straight. Into the start finish, lap 14 of 15, the last race. The last lap, I should say, here for the Let's Play Live Project Cars 2 ANZ Championship. It is an Australian out in front at the moment.
Yep, the Aussies taking it to the Kiwis. Madden still stable there at a second over Matthew Bullpluck. Matthew Bullpluck, obviously our champion from the round robin series. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to do it here in this last lap.
He's flashing his lights though, doing everything he can from this long distance. You can see the brakes illuminating and going dark. But nonetheless, I mean, you never give up until the fat lady sings, and he's still pushing that Falcon as hard as he can in second place.
Oh, wall to wall.
Missing the apex at the cutting. So this whole segment, it's really just about flow, and he'll be watching to make sure that Madsy in front doesn't clip the wall, doesn't do anything silly. You know, otherwise he'll be trying to make a pounce. But it's been this long. We've seen so much clean, you know, mistake-free racing from Madsy. It's really been an A-grade performance.
Now look, we're looking at 15 laps here, and I asked the silly question of how long is the Bathurst race? How many laps is that? Do you know?
161.
Wow, look at you two.
Hey.
Juno's at the key. So this 15 laps and the focus that they've had to do. Oh, Pluck touches the wall here. Madden touches the wall here. Is this going to be it down Conrod Street? Ladies and gentlemen, will it be the finish? The gap has closed to half a second.
Is he close enough to get in the draft? I mean, that's really the question.
Wow.
It's probably not a dive at the chase, but he could position himself at the last corner. He's flashing that lights again, but it's a bit more serious this time around.
Send it, mate. Send it, Matthew. What's he going to do? Oh, he shows the nose now. Matthew Pluck, what's he going to do? Sends it in. Oh, no, goes a little bit too deep. Hangs the tail out down to the end of Conrod Straight. He gave it everything that he could, but he couldn't quite make it past Kyle Madden. An absolutely brilliant finish here, but it is Kyle Madden who will come across the line just a few tenths clear of our round robin champion, Matthew Bullpluck. Madden is stoked. He gets the round win, and he is $500 richer, courtesy of a race win here in the second place in race one. Matthew Pluck. Man, you can see the emotion on his face. We see it roll over at the end there. Monkey Matt comes home third. I think he might pick up either P2 or P3 in the standings. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out. We'll have a ceremony in a moment's notice. But the boys, look at that. Monkey Matt super stoked. Kyle Madden even happier. $500 Australian richer. That'll certainly get you some sim racing gear on the way home. Fantastic job for him. This is John Baggs now coming across the line down in P4.
Still smiling, which is great to see.
Wow, what a finish.
What a finish. Clark taking the look. Hey, Kyle Madden, just a slight mistake, drifts it out. Comes down the front straight. He'll be happy that this is done and dusted. Where is Seeker?
There he is.
There we go. Let's see if we can get a reaction out of him.
I think he might have lost a place because he was up to fourth, I think, at one point in this race. So good job for him to come home, P5.
I don't know what that gesture's really meant to be. Let's assume it's a shucker.
Dave Stone, Alistair Kaiser's just happy to be here down in P6. Comes around the final corner. He will bring a few dollars home, enough to buy a few beers potentially. And
Breens has just binned it into the pits and he has had enough of that. So we make the official results for race 2, ladies and gentlemen, and it was Kyle Madden taking out first position, the Australian. But it was the Christchurch local in second position that takes it out overall, provisionally. Matthew Pluck, followed by Monkey Matt in third position.
John Baggs, Seeker, Dave Stone, Prinz, and Robert Murphy's Northway, the man of the moment down there in P8, retired on lap 3 after a big shunt at the top of the mountain. We'll hopefully get to talk to him in a moment and see what happened there, but it is Kyle Madden who comes out on top here, just 5/10 clear of Matthew Bull Pluck.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to get the drivers ready. We're going to get them out of their seats and we're going to have some words with them and do the official prize givings. But first, let's just let them do that. So grab yourself a drink and we'll have a quick break and we'll be back with you shortly. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is live. Let's Play Live. Star Insurance Project Cars, but it's Ola, LPL AU, LPL NZ. They're amazing people. They get you home safely. Just download it on Google Play Store or the App Store. And the first ride with terms and conditions is on Ola. My name is Brendan White. Whoa, it's a close-up. And I am joined with Matthew Hansen. Exceptionally, 16 races over 7 weeks, $6,500 AUD was on the line. We boiled that down, and then from that we got 8 races this week, and it was Bathurst, somewhere it's like a second home to you for a journo.
Oh, absolutely. You know, been there plenty of times, but great to see Bathurst doing what Bathurst does, elevating people that we don't normally see at the front. We know the story of Northway, we know the story of Matthew Bull Pluck, but neither of them up the top today.
Now, Monkey Matt obviously coming out in first position for the first race. And the second race we saw Kyle Madden, so really weird. So it's an Australian-New Zealand championship. We flew Kyle Madden, well, we were having a Madden competing, but then we flew him all the way to New Zealand to go and win Bathurst. So let's have a look at our tournament ladder results and see how it all played out on our screen right now. So, Bathurst, Australia, Madsy takes out second, takes out first, so we make it official. Kyle Madden, 380 points, so he takes it out and we will interview him very shortly. Monkey Matt, the newcomer, the guy that he got a third in the championship. Great results for Monkey Matt, 364 points. Matthew Bull Pluck, well, this is the guy that we kind of expected to take this out along with Robert Northway. 344, picks it up in third position. John Baggs in fourth position. Seeker in fifth position in a husky suit. Robert Murphy's Law, we're going to find out what happened there shortly, followed by Prinz and Dave Stone. So let's have a look. I think I've got Simon standing by. Let's go to Simon and have a chat.
With Kyle Madden here outside the studio. Kyle Madden, congratulations, man. How does that feel to get $500 in the bag?
Oh, mate, it's unreal. It's that was probably the hardest 15 laps I've ever driven around here. But yeah, look, after the horrid season I've had, it's just, it makes the rest of it go away, so it's fantastic.
These 2 races tonight, obviously super tough. Mount Panorama, Bathurst, the Supercars guys, they're going to have a chance in a few weeks to have a proper go. Talk me through those 2 races. What was it like?
Well, the first one, I got a great start. I was able to use the racing line into turn 1. I jumped everyone, and then I just slightly tagged the wall coming down towards the dipper at the end of the S's there, and got about 5% damage on the front, and just had to nurse it the whole way. And I was just focusing on getting good runs down the straights because I knew Matt was coming. And unfortunately, coming out of the chase there, just grabbed the curb a little bit, got a bit of a tag slapper, and managed to save it a little bit. But yeah, once he got in front, there's nothing I could do. I was struggling.
That last lap. Last few corners, we were watching it. The last few laps were sort of like, oh, we think he's got it in the bag. But you saw in the mirrors there, he was hustling, he was coming. Did you look in the mirrors and sort of think, oh God, he's just going to send it?
Yeah, I was watching the relative, the timing, and it was sort of even. And I got to the last lap, and I'm like, don't bin it now. So I backed off a little bit, and I get to the dipper, and the spotter's telling me 2 lengths behind. I look in the mirror, and there's just these headlights bearing down on me, and I'm like, oh no, here we go. So, but managed to hold on, got a good drive down the back straight down, and into the chase, and that was it. It was all sort of over. Nearly binned it at the chase, but yeah, I just turned in, and I was hoping for the best at that point, and got to the finish line first.
Awesome. Kyle Madden, THR, well done. $500 richer. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Simon. Thanks, Kyle. How cool is it to see a fresh face and the excitement? He had a lot of excitement in that interview.
I was going to note it before. I mean, you talked about the changes that have happened for the season this year, and him being a big fan of them all. A lot of them were things that probably played against him in the grand scheme of the whole championship. So it's quite cool to see him sort of rebound back at the end and show what he's worth.
Yeah, look, he unfortunately, I think he had a disconnect in one of the races early in the season, and then he got taken out as well. And a part of that is a bit of rubbings, racing, so to speak. But for an Australian to come back, they did it again. Unfortunately, guys, we're Kiwis. Come on, you can join us. All you've got to do is to get on to Let's Play Live, do the online qualifiers, and you can actually come in and compete just like these guys have as well. Esports is growing at an astronomical rate. There's money on the line right now. Formula One teams, supercar teams, all have it racing there. So if you want to get involved, that's a great way to do it. So it's great to see Kyle Madden there. I think Simon's standing by with another driver, so let's switch back to him.
And we're here with Robert Northway, P2 in the championship overall. A tough night for you, Robert. Talk us through that second race there. What happened?
Just not a good night. For some reason it felt like the car was down on power, and then I was just trying too hard to make up for it. Lost it going through Solomon Park, and rather than ruin Monkey's race, I just turned it hard into the wall and escaped out rather than ruin his night. He was having a good one. And a big congratulations to him for getting a race win, and big congratulations to Madsy for the night and Ball for the championship.
Awesome, mate. Obviously, P2 in the championship, pretty stoked with that. A good prize haul, some money. What are you going to do with it?
We've got a baby on the way, so got to sort some stuff out with that, and might spend a wee bit on a bit of fun though at the same time. Maybe some new gaming gear.
Maybe a bit of sim racing gear.
Yeah, might have to put some aside for that.
Awesome, brilliant. Thank you so much, Northway. We'll hopefully see you in future rounds. Awesome, back to you guys.
Oh, Simon, you just did the awkward handshake.
Is that John Keehan doing the interview? Just whoa.
Oh, that was awesome. Big congratulations to Robert Northway, 1 for the baby, but 2 for getting second in the championship. And of course, Matthew Bull Pluck, taking out that championship the first 7 rounds. Not what they wanted tonight. It's okay. But, lots of smiles. Even so, the crash. And Simon, I'm getting ears again that Simon's got someone else potentially with him, Monkey Matt. Let's see if they're ready for an interview.
Awesome. We've got Monkey Matt here in the studio. Monkey Matt Smith. Fantastic job tonight. Race 1, got the win. Took you long enough, mate. What was happening, mate?
Oh, I did not expect to be up there. I was loving to be up the front. Just before the races, actually, in the practice, I just set the blistering pace. Coming into tonight, didn't expect to be there, but after that lap in practice, I was like, holy crap, this could be on. So then during that race, I was just pushing on, so stoked to get a win tonight.
Awesome stuff, mate. Race 2, though. What's the story, mate? We were expecting so much stuff. I called it. You won the first race, but what happened in race 2?
Just didn't quite have the pace there. The battle was heating up with the front 4. I thought this could be a cracker coming into this. Then Murphy stacked it, and credit to him for getting out of the way after he did that. But then I sort of had a gap there. I was pushing, trying to catch up, tapped the wall a couple of times, got a little bit of damage, and then I couldn't keep up with the front guys. Full credit to them. They had the pace in their second race.
You obviously competed in a few LPL events now. I think this might be your 3rd one after 2 seasons in Project Cars, Gran Turismo Sport as well. You've obviously been doing a lot of stuff overseas. What's the next step for you? Are you going to try and do a bit more stuff overseas?
Well, actually, in a few weeks, I have a trip over to Melbourne. There's a competition at PAX for the Logitech G Challenge there, so that's going to have a crack at that again. And yeah, after that, I'm not sure what's on the horizon.
Awesome, well done, Monkey Matt. P2 tonight, great job, bit of cash in the pocket. Back to you guys in the studio.
Well, P2 for Monkey Matt. Not really the result we wanted to see from him after a A promising first race, ladies and gentlemen, but they get TV time, and now they're famous because they're on your screen at home, Sky TV, and a big thank you to SkyCity and for you guys tuning in as well. Don't worry, we're not done yet. We have one more special guest, which you should probably put in driven.co.nz as well. Bit of an interview. Let's go back to Simon for our last special guest.
Not really sure what I'm supposed to say here. Don't even know whether the dude speaks English, but we've got some dog treats. He might be able to take those, but maybe not. Yeah. Congratulations, mate. Top 8, here for the final. Bit of money in the bank. Have you got any words to say? I think we might leave it at that. Back to you guys, though.
I don't know. It is a TV at its finest right now with a dog, well, a husky, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to get some prize giving underway very, very shortly, and we will crown, obviously, the Bathurst winner and the championship winners. Big thank you to Seeker for doing the effort. You know, it does take a bit of kahunas to actually come live on TV and wear a husky suit and compete. You see it a lot in gaming internationally, you see it in the basketball. So a bit of kudos to him for doing that as well. So we will go to some prize giving now for the grand final and the Bathurst. Simon, are you standing by? Are you ready for that?
Awesome. We've got our champion here, Matthew Bullpluck. Well done, mate. P1 for the championship, for the round robin. A great result tonight now. Tell me, how's it been this season?
Tough. It's been a long, hard season with different cars, different tracks, and there's been 3 or 4 guys at the front pushing me every week, so I haven't had any break or anything the whole season, so it's been tough.
We expected tonight there were maybe going to be a few fireworks, some good results for you, hopefully. Matt and Brendan were expecting you to be up the front. We saw guys like Monkey Matt throwing a bit of a spanner in the works. How tough was it at Bathurst tonight?
Oh, Bathurst is a bit of a bogey track for me, so I was quite happy just to finish the 2 races to start with. First race didn't start too well, got a bit of damage, and that hindered me for the whole race, so I was about 10 k's down Conrad Straight. Second race had a bit more pace, and credit to Kyle, who drove an awesome race. I kind of threw everything at him, and he held on, so well done.
Awesome. What's the future hold for you? Do you think you'll be back for maybe another season, Project Cars 2, maybe something else?
Oh yeah, if you guys keep giving money away, I'll keep turning up.
That's the spirit, mate. All right, Matthew Bullpluck, you are the champion of the Round Robin Series. Here you go. Celebrate tonight, bit of money in the bank as well. Well done.
Cheers.
Well, it's back on us. Well done to Matthew Bullpluck. He picks up the trophy, and it's a heavy little trophy as well, so it goes on the mantelpiece, and he will be back. I would like to think, I'm not sure if we're going to be doing the Bathurst prize giving. I don't know. We've done it. There we go. Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Brendan White, and if you want to check out more information on what we're behind, we are D1NZ, we're the National Drifting Championship, and summer is coming, which means the motorsport season is coming for New Zealand as well. Speedworks.co.nz sees all the amazing motorsport madness. Just check it out, or D1NZ.com. I'd love to thank Star Insurance as well, our sponsors, Ola, Driven, LPL, and all the production team as well in the studio, doing a fantastic job. You guys for tuning in as well. Matthew, thank you again for your brains. They are a box full of knowledge, Simon and Matt, and you can check out more about Matt on driven.co.nz. Simon, thank you so much for joining us again for the season as well. velocitynews.co.nz. Everything is to come for eSport. It is $1 billion industry for New Zealand moving forward. So you would be silly not to get involved, silly not to stay tuned, silly not to watch Project Cars. 2020 is coming, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in every Thursday night. My name is Brendan White. On behalf of us at the... I nearly got there. On behalf of us in the studio, bye for now and stay safe on the roads.
This LPL Pro presentation was proudly brought to you by Star Insurance.